Um, that pushes us to a different topic that it's related to the team and excuse me, how they've been playing. Joey Daccord has played in 9 consecutive games, I believe it is, for the Kraken. That's not all starts because there were 2 games that he came in after Philip Grubauer got pulled, and obviously with those games, going back to them, those weren't really Grubauer's fault. But in hockey, it's change the goalie, give your team a spark. Um, it's interesting, because this was last season they did this where they would just give Joey extended runs, and he's dealt with injuries here and there, whether it be last season or this year, right? Suffering that injury in the practice before the Colorado game, and then kind of dealing with that. You had to ride Grubauer a bit, and you had Stezka up here. Um, this just brings in 2 things. One, this is who you've effectively chosen to be your franchise goalie, right? With the extension you gave him this past off season. Um, how like how can you keep doing this if you want him to be around in the long term? Because if you keep riding him, the chances of injury go way up, of course.
Hmm.
Especially with how much of a workload he does have to, take on upon himself with the defensive play, and we'll talk about that next. Um, that and if like a lot of people, I think a month ago, really accepted that Seattle wasn't going anywhere and that, this was a wash of a season, unfortunately. But when you're putting Joey Daccord out there, who, as much as I do believe in Philip Grubauer on a night-to-night basis and think he doesn't get a fair rap, he never has, like, Joey Daccord gives you the best chance to win at this point. Um, like when you play him that much, this is saying we are trying to win games.
Hmm.
And yes, while you should probably, get some goodwill back with this fan base, and the home fan base and the season ticket holders by getting wins at home, like this isn't sustainable. This is dangerous to do when you get to this. This is like Dave Hackstall level of goalie riding.
Hmm.
Um, just I don't know. What do you think about this management? Because at this point, before the break, like they play every other day effectively. They've done so, yeah, and then in that week of February, they play every other day. They have by the time this comes out, it'll be the day of the Edmonton game, and that's the first of a back-to-back. They have the 29th off. They play the Sharks on the 30th. Oh, okay, I lied. They have 2 days off after that. But you get the 31st and the 1st are not games. Calgary, the 3rd is off. The 4th is Detroit. The 5th is off. Yeah, the 6th is Toronto, and the 7th is off. And then you go and play Calgary before you get essentially 2 full weeks of a break before a back-to-back against Florida and Tampa Bay. So I don't know. What do you think about his workload currently, and how they might approach it for the rest of the season? Because I mean, unless they win out, or essentially win a bunch, and you keep seeing teams in front of you in the wild card fall, like this is going to be all for nothing.
I think that the workload's a little bit too heavy personally. I don't, oh, at this point, we're so far out of the wild, they're so far out of the wild card that it almost doesn't matter what goal you play. Just, I don't know. I'm in a very Flyers mindset where it's like tank
Eh,
and rebuild and tank and get the first round pick or, the first overall pick, tank and get a better overall pick and nothing matters anymore. That's not quite the mindset that I have for the Kraken. But also you can't overwork a goalie because at the end of the day, they're usually the ones that are there doing more for the team than any of the players. Not that that's fair for them, but I don't know. I would like to see more Grubauer starts. I think that when Joey was injured, we saw a lot of the better side of Grubauer. And I would like to kind of see that amplified a little bit, if that makes sense. Like, I would like to see more more of the better Grubauer, but that there's not the option for that because they just keep starting Joey. Um, so I don't know. I am not a fan of how many starts he's had. I think that it's I don't know, like I had a word and then I lost it. Um, Not good overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just not great for me when I'm expecting Grubauer to come in cold off of, this is 9 games in a row Joey has played.
Hmm.
Um, like it's, you
I
know,
guess kind of a good comparison. I talked to you about this a little bit before the Penguins game. I think, yeah, it was the Penguins game. The Flyers benched one of their goalies for a month, and which that's the only comparison for teams that I have. But they benched one of their goalies for a month, and then he came in and played a pretty good game, I think, or maybe, yeah, I think it was like an all right game, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he just pulled that off." And it's just not good to bench a goalie for that long, especially because the Kraken don't really have another NHL caliber goalie. So if something
yeah,
happens to Joey and then Grubauer has to fill in, and then something happens to Grubauer and Joey's not ready to come back, then you're
yeah,
stuck
you're screwed.
playing. Yep, you're playing an AHL
So
level goalie. That's yeah. So the
was
whole
never
thing I think is
debuted.
unsustainable.
Yeah, no, and it gets like, and this isn't a discussion about, you know, going forward because inevitably, I imagine that Grubauer gets bought out this offseason, and then they have to figure out something because, Nicky Coco will not be ready by next season. As much as he's shown out in some games down in CV and he looked good in the preseason and the camp, like he's not going to be ready
Hmm.
by next season. I think people need to understand that. They get excited and I'm like, nope, that's just not how development works.
Yep.
Um, and Stezka, like he's great, but he's just kind of been a career AHLer, and he hasn't really been. We did this when we talked about goalies a while ago, but I didn't realize he hadn't like been over in North America that long. Like he had just come over from, well, not just, but yeah, oh well, oh yeah, no, he had gone back to Czechia, yeah, because he was last in America in 2016-17 with Chicago Steel, the USHL. He went to Czechia from then until he signed with the Firebirds in 2023-24. Yes, got it. Um, so yeah, he's never played in the NHL. Highest he's gotten is currently the AHL, and I mean he's kind of an older guy, 28, to be a rookie there. So yeah, and then Coco's not ready, then you're not dipping into the ECHL, I hope. Like
Hmm.
so, and I don't really know who's on the market um currently for excuse me, if you wanted to bring out a guy, not trade wise, like I don't think they're trading for a goalie right now. That's be pretty impossible. Um let's see who's available right now, goalie wise. Nope, I do not want 2024. I want right now. This sucks. What? Um, oh, it tried to put me to 2023. Nope, 2033. Goaltenders. No, hello. Okay. I'm just gonna assume there's not that much out there. So,
No.
it's just, yeah, I think it's interesting for the fact that you want to keep your franchise goalie healthy. You want to keep him
Hmm.
around. But also like you're choosing to go out there and put your best effort out. Like you're doing the most, excuse me, effectively to win these games, and it could all be for naught. Like, are you going to play? You cannot play him. You can't play him for the back to back, obviously. So
Hmm.
I was saying this. Unfortunately, like I thought wrong on the 24th. Grubauer went through all the things that essentially the starter would do on a game day. And I thought, oh, this makes sense because they have a 1 o'clock start tomorrow. Like they can't do any of that morning. And I thought, okay, Joey at that time had played 8 games in a row. Um, let's give Grubauer a start before the back-to-back so he's somewhat back to, ready to see, game shape.
Hmm.
What I'm worried about is that they're going to put Grubauer out there on Monday against Edmonton, which is Connor McDavid's first game back from suspension, have him get slaughtered because of how bad they look defensively, which is what we'll talk about next and here shortly. And then Joey will go back to this workload until the break.
Yep.
Like it would be really nice. Like I don't like the idea of 10 straight starts or 10 straight games, but put Joey out there against Edmonton. Like,
Hmm.
give your best chance to win, and have Gruby play. Um, you could have Gruby play the next two games, against Anaheim and San Jose. So I don't know. Anyway,
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, where are you going to watch all those Kraken away games?
Kraken away games, making a push. I was thinking of coming here just because Rough and Tumble is the home of Circling Seattle Sports, only if that's okay with you.
I mean, I love that idea. Hope to see you here.